Hello everybody, today is the 19th of March and as always we're gonna tell the pen story. This pen story has changed a lot of people's life. It should light into why something happened to our life and how we can create or manifest our dream life in a very certain way. So are you ready? Let's get started, okay? What is this? It's a pen. What do we use a pen for? To write. Now there is a dog inside the room. I'm gonna wave this in front of the dog. What does the dog do? The dog probably will sniff, lick, or chew the shade. Does the dog see this one as a pen? No. So for the dog, this one is a pen, but for the human, this one is not a pen. So who is correct, the dog or the human? The answer is both are correct. For the dog, this one is a chewing toy, while for the human, this one is a pen to write. The dog is correct in the dog world, the human is correct in the human world. So that is our first lesson. Both are correct. Now, let's imagine that there is a table in front of me, so I'm going to put this thing on the table. And then both the dog and I will walk out the room. So inside the room, there'll be no human, no dog. What does this thing become? Is it still a pen or a chewing toy? Or it becomes almost nothing, and the ancient wisdom called this one as the emptiness. The emptiness is actually a very magical definition. As we understand the emptiness, we'll be able to achieve anything in life. Just like Geshe Michael Roche applied the emptiness into his business and was able to build a business with a revenue of $250 million a year. He's also able to have several refugees. So what is the emptiness? Why is that so magical? Let's go back to the pen story, okay? The cynically on the table when there is no human, no dog, or nothing to interact with. It comes back to true self, we call it the emptiness. Okay. So the emptiness is not darkness, it's not nothingness, it's not, no feeling, no thinking, or no emotion at all. The emptiness is just self, but it doesn't interact with anyone. So we all have the emptiness, right? You, me, the table, the computer, this thing, they all have the emptiness, right? But then in reality, most of the time we always interact with someone or something, right? So in reality, when we do that, we actually have the potential of become whatever that we are to the other person or the other thing that we interact with. So for instance, if I come to the room and I look at this becomes a pen. When the dog comes back to the room and the dog look at this becomes a chewing toy. And when both the dog and I comes back to the room at the very same time, and we both look at this at the very same time, what does this thing becomes then? It becomes two things, a pen for me and a chewing toy for the dog. So, a single thing right here, it can become multiple things at the very same time, depending on how many people or, whatever that they are looking at us, right? So that's what that's the magic of the potential and the emptiness. So the second lesson that we have is along with the emptiness, we all have limitless potential. Now I see this as a pen. So does this pen coming from me or does this pen coming from the thing itself? This pen is actually coming from me. Why am I so certain? Because if this thing is the pen itself and the dog or anything in this entire universe will have to see it for what it is, which is a pen. But does the dog see this one as a pen? No. So this pen is actually coming from me. This pen is actually coming from my mind, and everything is actually coming from our mind. So that is our third lesson. Everything is actually coming from our mind. Now we all agree that this pen is coming from my mind, right? So I'm going to change my mind and I'm going to believe this one become a diamond, okay? So please pray with me. Diamond, diamond, diamond. Open my eyes. It's still a pen. So what in my mind that forced me to see this as a pen but not a diamond? There are seed inside our mind that the actions we don't call as karma. When we see something, the seed inside our mind pop up, open up and cover this and made us see it for what had been planted only into our mind. So who planted those seeds into our mind then? Only you can plant the seed into your mind and only I can plant the seed into my mind. How can we do it? We do it by three ways, by our word, by our actions, by our thoughts, especially to other people. So for instance, I'm going to hold on to this. I'm going to say that I have the pen. Would you like to have this pen? And when my friend say, yes, please, I'd be so happy to give this to my friend. And I hope I can help my friend. So when I do this pump off, both me and my friend will see it and start living mark in my mind. A couple days later, when I see this, I recognize this one as a pen, which means that the seed of the pen is already planted into my mind. And I pop up, open a big cup of this and made a seed for what had been planted already into our mind, which is a pen. And this is how a pen become a pen, or anything surround us become what and who they are to us. In the pen story, there are several meaningful lessons. Today we went over 4 different lessons. The first lesson is both are correct, so we learn to respect each other's opinion, we learn to respect each other's choices, and if possible, we learn to listen to each other with a compassionate heart. And I think the secret, the key to do this one is actually, is that before we do anything, just deep breath before we talk, before we react, especially to unwanted or unexpected thing to us, take a deep breath first. A couple breath will be even better. And actually, that is something that I've been trying to learn. And sometimes I know that I still failed it, but I think that is it's a process, and we all working toward that journey. The second lesson is everything is actually good. Along with the emptiness, we all have limitless potential. So just your potential, just the potential of within, so everyone surround us, and just the potential whatever happened to us. And the thing that I've been linking with that recently is the saying from the subconscious powers is that everything that happened to me at this very moment is the best thing that can happen to me. And with that mentality, be able to see the potential, the beauty, the positivity of everything that happening to us, or at the very moment. And the third thing is that the third lesson is everything is actually coming from the seed inside our mind. So we be 100% responsible to whatever happened to us. We don't blame anyone, because in the end, we are the only one who can plant the seed into our mind. And it's actually very, very difficult to do that, to be honest with you. It's easier to be in the victim mode, to blame if a wrong thing happened to us, like, oh, why this happened, why that happened. I know that sometimes I do it as well. But after that, we have to recognize that, okay, then which part of this problem coming from me, and which part I can solve the problem, like what I can do to solve the problem. I think that's what we have to finally realize, that what we can do to solve the problem, or what we can do to improve the situation. And then we be able to charge, and then go into solve the problem, rather than let other problem become the problem of other people, and then we wouldn't be able to do anything, right? So between being able to do something, even how ridiculous it is, compared to being able to do nothing, and it's all depend entirely to another people. So which one you prefer? Me, I prefer the other one. So I rather to take charge of my life, and then I'm being able to understand that, okay, everything is actually coming from me. So I be able to change everything in the course of that I wanted to have with my life. And last but not least is the lesson number 4, which is the lesson of how to incorporate all this lesson into our life to achieve our dream life in a very certain way. So first, you have to know what you want to have in your dream life, right? So using lesson number 2, the emptiness and the potential. And then lesson number 3, we start planting those seeds, using our word or action and thoughts with other people. So very, very important realization or important note in this lesson is that, when you see it, when you realize that, when you want it, it's good. However, it wouldn't become reality without you actually putting the work into that, through your work, through your action, through your thoughts with other people. So for instance, if you want to have happiness, then you plan the happiness set using your work, your action, your thoughts with other people, helping other people to be happier. If you want to have prosperity, then use your work, your action, your thought, helping other people to be more prosperous. If you want to have wisdom, then using your word, your action, your thought, helping other people to be more wiser. And just like that, whatever that you want, making sure that you use your word, your action, your thoughts to other people as well. And that is one of the very, very best way and secure way to plant the seed into your mind. One of these days, you'll be able to harvest the good fruit from that seed. And the lesson that I would like to share with you all today is recently I noticed that um I think life is a circle, like a different journey. So for me, I think that I experience how um different process. That it's a process of different phase. So there will be a phase that I'm very happy, very optimistic, and then there will be a phase that everything is just like, oh, it's going down, everything is really bad. But then once I over that, then it's gonna get better again. And I think it's all happened to everyone else. And then, it's just how we see it, how we be able to perceive it. And I think that's the lesson of lesson number two, the emptiness and the potential, how you be able to see that. And then what you can do to, instead of going from really high to really low, but make it less and less different. Or even if possible, you be able to see it as, as everything is just what it is and what you want it to be, right? And and then being able to pursue it, to see the potential, working toward that. I think that is something very, very important. So I'm recently I've been thinking that, aside from seeing the truth, of what it is, rather than seeing it through my mind, okay, this is not good, this is good, and blah, just see it for what it is, and then choose for to understand, choose the potential that I wanted to see from it, and then being able to work into what that. So that's the lesson that I would like to share with you all today. Thank you, Anna, for accompanying me in the 3,000-day journey. And by me sharing with you the pen story of my lesson in taught something good, I would like to dedicate that to my Dutch family, to my friends, to my coworkers, to my clients, to my neighbors, or to any living things in this world, any other world, with love, wisdom, and gratitude. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. Bye bye, everyone.